In this video, I'm going to be looking at 12 of the top commands that I use in Linux or in Bash. So I'm going to be using the terminal on my Mac to show you how to use these commands and what they are used for. So let's jump right in with the first command, which is pwd or print working directory. So this command is really useful for seeing where you're at on the current system. So whether you are working on a virtual private server or on your local computer, you can see what directory you are currently in and all the parent directories above your current location. So this is very useful as it makes it easier to navigate your way around the current system. And the next command that we'll be looking at is used for listing the files in a directory. So this is the ls command, and this is one I use all the time. You want to find out quickly what files are in that directory or what folders are in that directory. This command will prove really useful. If it's empty, you will just see like a blank response, but you can also use the parent directory, in this case using the 2 dots and a /. So that will allow us to see which files are in the parent directory above our current location. And then the next command we'll look at is changing directory, the cd command. And again, this is a command that you'll use constantly, so we can quickly move between directories. So in this case, I'm going up to the parent directory. And you'll notice here on the left that it tells us what our current directory is once we change directory. So every time you do this, it will tell you where you are currently at. We can do this again and go up 2 levels or 2 directories. And once we do this now, you'll see on the left that we don't have a name for the folder, but we have this tilde character. So this little squiggly line, it means that that is our local directory. So that is our home directory that we start in this case based on the user that is signed into the system. And now I'm going to use the list files and directory command. And you can see that we've got a number of different folders here and files. And I'm going to show a different option. Now, I usually do this with the L option, which gives us a list format. So this allows us to see the permissions of each file, the file size, the date, and a number of other things regarding each of the files. You can also pass in a all option, so LA, and that will allow us to see hidden files that we couldn't see previously. So let's talk now about the clear screen command. Now this is a very simple one. It just helps to clean up your screen, make it easier to see what's happening. So once you type the word clear, it will just remove all the contents of your current window. So it just makes it easier to see what's happening on your screen, and then you can continue to add commands thereafter. One additional little tip I want to give here is that if you're changing directory and you're typing out the path to a certain directory that you want to move to or create a file in that directory, you can use the tab key to autocomplete the name of that directory that you're trying to move into. So if you type the word L in this case and then hit tab, it will autocomplete the Linux commands directory for us. So it's just a nice little way to speed up and quickly move between directories. So now let's look at the make directory command, so MKDIR. So this is very useful as it just allows us to create directories quite easily. So in this case, I'm going to create a directory in our current location and we'll call that test. So the name will be test. And now if I run the list files command, we can see that we've got this new directory called test. So now let's move into this directory, so we can use the change directory command again. And we'll use the path to working directory command. So you can see now that the whole path is here with our new directory. So let's move back out to the parent directory once more. And then finally we will just clear our screen. Another command I use quite a lot is the touch command, and this is actually intended just for updating the timestamp of a file or folder, but I like to use it for creating files as well. So we can create blank files using this method. So in this case, I'm going to create a blank text file called hello. And now if we run the list files, we can see it in our current directory. The next command we're going to use is echo, and this allows us to write to the standard output. So what this will do here in this case is it will just simply return the value that we pass in. So in this case, our output is our terminal screen, but we can also use this to write to files. So in this case, I'm going to wrap the text in quotation marks, and I'm just going to make up some dummy text here. And this time the difference is I'm going to send this text into the file, and we can do that using the double arrow command. And this will push that text into the output, which in this case is this text file. Every time we do this, it will actually put a new line into the file. So it will do a line return automatically for us using the echo command. So I'm going to add a second line just to show how this works. And next up is a concatenate command, abbreviated to cat. So this is very useful for outputting the contents of a file. So in this case, we can see that the output of our text file contains the 2 lines that we inserted already. And you can see that there is a line break. So these are 2 separate lines within that file. So the next command is slightly different, but does a very similar thing. So we're going to use the tail command, and this is useful for printing the number of lines from the bottom of a file. This is very useful if you want to look at server logs, for example, and you can pass in the number of lines that you want to return. So in this case, we pass in the n option followed by the number. So here I'm returning 1 line from the file. We can also add another line into this file, and I will just demonstrate returning 2 lines from this file using the tail command. And another useful tip is that in most Unix systems, you can press the up key to access the previous commands that you created. So if you need to edit the previous command, this makes it quite easy. So now we can see that we've got the last 2 lines of our file output to the screen. So the key difference between those 2 commands, the cat and the tail, is that the cat command will output everything in the file, whereas the tail command will only take from the bottom of that file. So I'm going to create one more example using the echo command, and this time we're only using 1 arrow. And the reason we're doing that is that this command will actually create the file and insert that text into it. Then if we wanted to add a second line to that file, we would use the 2 arrows to append that text onto the bottom of the file. So in this case, you can see that we haven't used the touch command to create the file. We've used the echo command to create that file and place the text in it directly. So now let's look at using the copy command, and this is a CP command. So this allows us to copy files and folders from one location to another. So we can use that now to copy our text file. So first of all, we add the name of the file that we want to copy, and then we follow that by a space, then the name of the second file that we want to create. So the last name is the file that we want to create. So using the ls command, we can list all of the files in the directory, and you'll see now that we have this test2.txt. And then let's use the concatenate command to output each line of the text file. So now we can see that the content of this file is the same as the original. The next command we're going to look at is for moving or renaming files, and that's abbreviated to MV. So let's look at how we can use it to rename a file. So in this case, I'm going to rename the text file test2, and we'll change the name of that to hello world. And if we run the list files and directory now, you can see that we've got this file hello world.txt, and our test2 file is no longer here, so it has been renamed. So now let's look at using the remove files command, rm. So this can remove both files and folders or directories. So first of all, let's look at removing a file. So in this case, I'm going to remove the test.txt, and you can see that the file has been deleted. If you want to remove a directory, you have to pass in the option of D. So pass in the -d, and it will allow you to delete that directory and its contents. You can also use the I option to confirm before deleting each file. And you can also use the asterisk if you want to replace certain characters. So in this case, we can select all text files and delete them. You could also do this with different file formats like PDF. You can also use it to just replace part of a name for that file. So in this example, you could use it to only delete files that end in _test.txt. So it's quite useful to use the asterisk to replace characters. And using the I command, then we have to confirm the deletion of each file. So this is quite good if you want to be careful when deleting files. So that's about it for this video. Hopefully this has been useful to you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. And I will see you all in the next video.